Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a story that shook a nation, a story of hidden plots, unwavering determination, and the moments that forever changed an ordinary day into a chapter of history. Sometimes, the most significant events don't start with a bang, but with a whisper, far from the bustling cities, in places where the wind carries secrets before they ever reach our ears. And that's exactly where our story begins. Long before that fateful afternoon in Nairobi, months before anyone could even imagine what was coming, the seeds of a horrific plan were already being sown. Imagine, if you will, the vast parched plains of southern Somalia, a desolate sun-baked landscape, far from any major city, far from the watchful eyes of the world. Here, hidden away from law and mercy, a small makeshift camp existed. It was barely more than a scattering of tents and crude shelters baking under an unforgiving sun. But within its dusty confines, a chilling transformation was underway. This wasn't just any camp. It was a crucible where a new breed of men was being forged. Young, impressionable, and meticulously disciplined, they were being shaped for one deadly purpose. Their days were a relentless cycle of training under the scorching heat. They learned to move like ghosts, unseen and unheard. They were taught to fight without hesitation, to follow orders without question, to empty their hearts of all doubt. Their world was stripped bare, devoid of any softness. The sharp crack of gunfire replaced laughter, and the rigid rhythm of commands drowned out any independent thought. They were told they were chosen, destined for a purpose greater than their own lives. Every lesson, every weapon they handled, pulled them further and further from the world they once knew, from the people they once were. In this desolate camp, cold, deliberate, and frighteningly precise plans began to take shape. The mission had a name, a chilling whisper only exchanged among the inner circle. Operation Riverside. Its objective was stark and clear. Strike deep into the heart of Kenya's capital, shatter its peace, and send a tidal wave of fear far beyond its borders. As weeks bled into months, the chosen men were divided into small, specialized teams. One team, specifically chosen, would carry the weight of this brutal plan to its completion. They would be equipped, guided, and funded by a sprawling network, a dark web reaching quietly into the very fabric of Kenya's cities. When the time was ripe, these men crossed the border, slipping through unnoticed, using false identities. Their weapons, the tools of their impending terror, were smuggled in piece by piece, hidden ingeniously among innocent cargo. Think about it. Machinery parts, sacks of animal feed, even personal luggage, items that would never raise an eyebrow. And money, the lifeblood of their operation, flowed through unsuspecting channels. Mobile transfers, small deposits, fake businesses. Each step, each transaction, carefully disguised to look like the most ordinary aspect of daily life. By the time they finally reached Nairobi, the operation was already halfway complete. They melted seamlessly into the city's diverse tapestry, settling quietly into neighborhoods where no one would ever give them a second glance. In crowded estates and anonymous rented apartments, they lived lives that mimicked everyone else's. They bought groceries, paid their rent on time, exchanged greetings with their neighbors. They blended in perfectly, becoming part of the city's vibrant pulse. There was nothing, absolutely nothing, about them that would draw attention. But behind locked doors, away from the prying eyes of the world, their true work began. Maps were spread out and studied with intense focus. Security routines of their target were observed minute by minute, day after day. Routes were memorized until they were etched into their minds. Every single movement was rehearsed, over and over, until there was no room for error, no possibility of a misstep. Meanwhile, those who orchestrated this dark ballet remained deep in the shadows. The financiers pulling the strings, the fixers smoothing over obstacles, the silent allies providing crucial support. They arranged safe houses, secured transportation, and established communication links, ensuring the plan remained invisible, a ghost in the machine. To the outside world, Nairobi went on as it always did. The familiar honking of traffic jams, the laughter spilling from cafes, the endless rhythmic pulse of city life. Everything appeared normal. But beneath that comforting surface of normality, a storm was quietly gathering strength, building towards an inevitable and devastating crescendo. When the order finally came, it wasn't a shouted command, but a whisper, a coded signal passed through a precise chain of messages. This was it. The moment they had been waiting for, preparing for, training for, was finally at hand. The morning of January 15th, 2019, dawned like any other. The sun rose softly over the Nairobi skyline, painting the glass towers of Westlands with a golden glow. Offices opened their doors, ready for another busy day. Cafes began to fill with the comforting hum of customers enjoying their morning coffee. The city breathed, as it always did, alive, fast-paced, and utterly unaware of the terror lurking just beneath the surface. In another part of the city, a small group of men were making their final preparations. They packed their bags with chilling precision, checked their weapons one last time, and moved with a quiet, focused determination. There was no rush, no hint of panic, only purpose. As they drove through Nairobi's busy roads, nothing seemed out of place. They passed schoolchildren making their way home for lunch, workers hurrying to meetings, and security guards waving cheerfully at passing cars. The city was calm, a deceptive calm, its peace just moments away from being brutally shattered. The car moved deeper into Westlands. Inside, the men remained silent, their faces unreadable, their thoughts carefully concealed. They had rehearsed this moment countless times. For them, the mission was no longer just a plan, it had become their destiny. They turned onto a quiet, tree-lined lane, a peaceful street that led to a complex of offices, bustling restaurants, and a luxury hotel renowned for its serene beauty. The buildings stood tall and bright against the sky, their glass facades reflecting the morning sunlight. Inside, people were working, laughing, meeting for coffee, completely unaware that history was about to be written in their midst, a history soaked in tragedy. The men parked their car. For a brief, terrifying moment, there was silence, the kind of silence that hangs heavy in the air, a precursor to utter chaos. And then it happened. A thunderous explosion ripped through the air, sharp, violent, and final. The sound echoed off the buildings, scattering birds into the shocked sky. Within seconds, thick smoke billowed upward, and the quiet calm of the afternoon was shattered by terrified screams. Gunfire erupted, a relentless barrage. Panic seized the streets. Cars burst into flames, windows imploded. The street filled with unimaginable confusion and raw terror. The attack had begun, and only now would the world learn the name of the place where it all unfolded. Dusit D2 Hotel at 14 Riverside Drive, Nairobi. Narration slows, tone becomes solemn, slightly lower in pitch. In that moment, the entire city stood still, holding its breath. What followed in the next hours would become a profound test of the courage, resilience, and unwavering spirit of an entire nation. From the very depths of fear and despair, heroes would rise. Complete strangers would become saviors, and Kenya's indomitable spirit would prove itself to be utterly unbreakable. This was only the beginning of their story. Slight pause. Part 2, which we're calling The Siege, The Rescue, and The Hunt, will be released very soon. Stay tuned for the incredible account of how Nairobi fought back, how countless lives were saved against all odds, and how justice, slowly but surely, found its way through the smoke and rubble. Thank you so much for watching and for being with us today. If you found this story compelling, please give us a thumbs up, share this video, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss part 2. Hit that notification bell too so you're the first to know when it drops. We appreciate your support.